Hi everyone, and welcome to the next episode of How to Build Information Security Management System entirely in Confluence and Jira. In the last episodes, we looked at how to build a document management system in Confluence, and today we want to look at how to build an asset register in Jira. As an example, I want to show you our system that we use in Jira, and you can see here that we have different statuses of our assets. And what we did is we decided to split the assets into two categories. One are the primary assets and second are the secondary assets. Primary assets to us mean, for example, customer data. Secondary assets are vendors, tools, suppliers. It is up to you how you decide to, split up the different assets. I will show you how you can also create different issue types so that you can directly see what type of asset it is. And what we will do is we will build the workflow, we will set up the different issue types, we will set up a checklist for the secondary assets. We will also define the different custom fields so that we can track actually all the assets with appropriate metadata. Today, we will look at how to create the project and how to set up the proper workflow. So let's dive right into it. First, we need to create a new project. So let's navigate to projects and we can directly click a plus button here. What we will see are the different project types that we can choose from. I will go directly with a blank project. I will call it asset register, and I will actually choose a company managed project. I will link you another few videos that explain what are the differences between company managed and team managed projects. But ideally, if multiple people are gonna work in it, and if you have an organization with more people than, let's just say, 5 people, then I would definitely recommend you to go for the company managed, because you will have the control, you will have the permissions, and everything directly from the admin side, so you can manage much better who has access to what and who can do what in the specific project. I will also call this asset so that every time we look at the issue, we directly know, okay, this is an asset issue. Let's create the project. All right, and we have our project. Now, what we see here is actually we have the workflow that is to do, in progress, and done. Now, ideally, we would like to change this into something that suits the asset register more. Let's say we want to have a draft of an asset. Then we want to review the asset, and once reviewed, we want to put it into use. Every year, as our policies define it, we need to review the assets. So let's say once a year, we can then also set up an automation that will take all the assets in use and put them back into review. So we need to again go and check whether or not any security issues or anything regarding the data privacy of the assets has changed. If something changes, or if we don't need the asset anymore, then we need to have, let's say, a retired column, and ideally also a rejected one for those assets that haven't passed our inspection. So let's look into how we can set up the workflow for the asset register. We can navigate into the project settings, and here in workflow, we will see that we are using a workflow called asset blank project default workflow. So this workflow was basically created based on the default workflow, which is usually to do, in progress, done. Now we can go right in here and we can edit the workflow. What you see here are actually different statuses and where everything starts. So if you're creating a ticket in your project, then the ticket will be directly assigned into the to-do section. Let's set a status, and what we can do is we can search for different statuses, or what we can do is we can also create a new status. Let's call our first status draft. And what we want to select is actually this status will have the category to do. So it will be the first category that it will fall into. Okay, the status already exists, so let's find it here. And let's actually assign that all the tickets that will be created will go directly into the draft. what we can now do is also delete the to-do status. And so every time we start any ticket or any issue in our project, it will fall into the draft. Let's add additional statuses like we said review, right? I already have created this before, so I have the review status here. But if you have to create it new, then you just select in progress and call it review, right? I'll then delete this one. So we have draft, review, then we said we want to have active. And for the final statuses, we wanted to have retired. And now you see this is in green, right? Because this means that the status is actually kind of like the done status, the final status here. So we wanted to have retired and rejected. So both of these are actually in green because they are the final destination statuses. What we can do here, what we see here, is that basically any status can transition into the draft. I think that's a good thing, but for example, for the active status, what we could do is also set up a workflow in which only assets that have been reviewed can go into the active. So let's connect these two, and let's say this will be the reviewed and approved asset. So what we have here is basically from the review into the active, we need to review and approve it. I would also delete here the any status and actually make it that from active, we can go back into the review, needs review. I sometimes find this like, you can just name it whatever you want. And what we do here also, we can from active, we can retire it. Retire asset, and we can create this. Now, additionally, what we can also do is say that for example, this like coming from review into the active status, we can add different rules. We can add rules like, for example, only some people can actually, move this or approve this. So we can select like, let's say only I am allowed to move the asset from review into active, and thereby we have additional control over who gets to review, who gets to approve the different issues and the different tickets. There additionally, like you can set triggers, properties, and so on. So you can play really around in here and you can adjust it, but I will keep it super simple just so that we can look at it, look at how basically all of this works, and you can then dive deeper into it and set up different workflows, different permissions as you like. So let's update this workflow. Now it will tell us that all of the tickets that we have in the to-do status will transition into draft, in progress into review, and in done into retired. We don't have any tickets, and any issues actually, so it doesn't matter to us. Perfect. So now we have updated the workflow. Let's look actually at the project. How does this look? Perfect. So we have draft, we have active, review, retired, rejected. What I will also do here, I will actually just like pull the review before active so that, logically we go from draft to review, from review to active, from active to retired, and then to rejected. Great. So now you know how to create a custom workflow and how to set up your own asset register project. In the next episode, we will look into how to set up custom issue types like we did in our project here for primary assets and secondary assets. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below or use the link in the description to set up a quick chat with me. I will be happy to help you build your own information security management system or advise you on cybersecurity services or auditing. See you next time.